Hi guys, here is your video for types of force, which is the first lesson for Unit 5. May the mass times acceleration be with you. Sorry for all of the noise in the background. It's the construction right outside my classroom. So types of force it is in module 26. And if you click on this notes section, you can find your notes. So you should copy this and put it in your folder. Now this one's a Google Slides. So this is just a vocabulary graphic organizer on different types of force. So once it loads up, put it into your folder. All right, now that you've got your notes where they're supposed to be, I am just going to have you read through the slideshow that's right here. So forces, what are they? They are a push or pull that changes the motion of an object. They can cause objects to slow down, speed up, or change directions. So different types of force. So these are the definitions. So you'll find this type of force in your graphic organizer. I apologize because they're not all in the correct order. So gravity is the force that attracts two objects with mass towards each other, such as the Earth and the Moon. So find gravity, it's on the second page. Write down your definition, and you can give the Earth and the Moon as an example. The more mass an object has, the stronger the force of gravity. So Earth, a medium-sized planet has more gravity than Mercury, a small planet, but it does not have as much gravity as Jupiter, a very, very large planet. Okay, the Moon has less gravity than the Earth, but the Moon is affected by Earth's gravity, so that's why the arrow looks like the same size as the Earth's arrow. Magnetic force is the force between two magnets or between a magnet and certain metals. Not all metals are magnetic. Magnetic metals are iron, nickel, and cobalt. Put that in your graphic organizer notes. Then electrostatic force, otherwise known as static electricity, is the force between particles with opposite charges. So you can give a balloon a negative charge if you rub it against maybe like your sweater, and then it can pull on your hair, which has a positive charge. Opposites attract. All right, we have friction again. Friction was in our last unit, but it's a force that slows things down due to the rubbing together of two surfaces. So whenever there's two surfaces in contact that are pushing against each other, that is friction. Mechanical force are what we call contact forces between two objects, and it requires energy. So we have this weightlifter pushing up this barbell, and it's a contact between the weightlifter and the weight, and it requires energy. So the weightlifter has to have enough energy in order to move that heavy weight. Then we have a spring force. So a spring force, it's kind of like elastic potential energy. Anytime something springs back into place, the force that returns an object to its original shape. For example, springs, rubber bands, balloons, anything that you can bend and it can spring back into place. All right, two more. So something called the normal force. The normal force is the force that the ground or any surface pushes back up with. So if you're sitting on a chair right now, why isn't the force of your body pushing that chair all the way to the ground and then pushing through the ground? Because of the normal force. If there was no normal force, you'd crash right through your chair. So essentially, the normal force is what keeps the world pretty normal, keeps things from collapsing through their surfaces. So if there's a book on a table, the book presses down on the table, and the normal force pushes back up on the book. Last but not least, air resistance. Air resistance is a force that slows an object down when it's passing through air. So this is why a flat piece of paper floats through the air because of air resistance, why a feather floats through the air. I like to think of it as friction, but in the air. All right, and then we have two fun videos for you to watch over and over and over again. Contact forces, any force that requires two things to be in contact. For example, kicking, throwing, pulling a rope, or this. That's a contact force. Then we have non-contact forces. So some of those forces are non-contact forces. They can act on an object without coming physically in contact with it. For example,
you can slow-mo
that. Here's gravity affecting Mr. Newsom without anything actually touching him. You can say the ground is touching him, but he's not being glued to the ground. It's just gravity that's preventing him from getting back up. All right, so which of these is a contact force? Magnets, electrostatic, gravity, or friction? So the answer is friction is the only contact force. All the rest can work at a distance. Friction, an object has to be touching another object for that to happen. What kind of force do you see here? The answer could be mechanical, throwing the ball, or gravity, the ball falling back down. What kind of force is this? The weight of the metal block pushes down, the table pushes up. This is the normal force. What kind of force do you see here? Direction of motion, so pushing a box in this direction. A force pushing back in the other direction. That force would be friction. And as you can see here, those two surfaces, if you get close enough, are not perfectly smooth. What kind of force is this? Paper clips? A magnet? That's magnetic. What kind of force is holding all these packing peanuts to the cat? That is electrostatic. What kind of force is demonstrated when you click a clicky pen? That could be mechanical from your hand or a spring force from the inside of the pen. All right, I invite you to watch this video of the Perseverance rover approaching Mars and landing to see all kinds of demonstrations of force. But that is the end of this lesson on force.